Good evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Travers Mackel. This is one of the first ones that we're going to do in the new year. So we're looking ahead to the big political events coming up and what politicians have on their agendas in Orleans and in neighboring Jefferson Parish. We're joined by two familiar faces, New Orleans City Council President Helena Moreno and Jefferson Parish Councilman at Large Scott Walker. You were the chair last year. You're not the chair anymore. It goes back to next year, but you're still an at-large councilman, Scott Walker, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Travers.
All right. And also, let me just get this out of the way right out the gate here. We were all colleagues at WDSU at one time. I'm the only person left working in television here, as you all are now elected officials. So
we can still do a newscast if you want.
We could almost do a newscast right here, but that's happening right now. Let's just move on to the more important political topics. Scott, we'll talk Jefferson Parish in 1 second, but Councilwoman Moreno, let's start with you. Tomorrow's Inauguration Day. 5 of the 7 council members are new. What can voters and people watching this in Orleans Parish expect from that body moving forward, not just this year, but for the next 4 years?
Well, I have to tell you, Travers, I am really excited about this new city council. I think we have a really strong group coming in. I just completed the committee assignments a couple of days ago, and I met with all of the council members. And I'm telling you, like, they are ready to get to work. Obviously, our priority at the time is dealing with the really horrific and really tragic violent crime problem that we have in our city. So, we are going to be establishing a very strong role in accountability measures and also in working to find solutions to this very terrible problem that we're having here in our city. And I'll say this too, that all of us in this new city council are also very committed to focusing in on the infrastructure dollars that are coming down from the federal government. What are the top projects for the city of New Orleans and really regionally as well? And how do we ensure accountability around those dollars? And how do we engage the city? How do we engage the community into what those top priorities and projects should be? But I have to tell you, I mean, I'm so pumped about this group of people because they are strong. And I think you're going to see some major changes, some big initiatives coming forward right off the bat. And I'm telling you, like, in the next couple of weeks, that'll be announced. And I don't want to announce them at this point, but big things coming in just the next couple of weeks as we get inaugurated.
I was going to say, feel free to break news and announce them right now if you'd like.
Well, I'll say this. Look, we are also focusing in on resiliency and climate. A couple months ago, I formed a new committee called the Climate Committee for the New Orleans City Council, and we're going to be announcing and having hearings around some strong measures dealing with how do we as city operations become more resilient and efficient as well. And some of those things have to do with additional partnerships with New Orleans, who we regulate. And by the way, I'm switching off the Utilities Committee. As you know, I've been chair of the Utilities Committee for the past 4 years. I'm going to switch that role over to now JP Morrell, who will take that over. And I know he's going to do a great job with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty anxious coming from the legislature to take that over. We'll get back to you in a second, especially with more of that federal money. Councilman Walker, let's talk to you. Jefferson Parish, obviously the largest parish in this region. Moving forward in 2022, what are the priorities for the council and the administration?
One of the big priorities is the American Rescue Plan Act money that the parish got 84 million of. And we've had a task force that's met over the past several months to try to decide the best ways to recommend to the council how that money should be spent. And we've involved leaders in the business community and other people who are stakeholders in Jefferson Parish who can sort of just come up with a wish list of the ways that money should be spent, make the recommendations to the council, and then the council will ultimately decide. We certainly want this to be transformational spending, money that is used to make Jefferson Parish better on the back end of this pandemic than it was going into the front end. We have a lot to be optimistic about. It almost feels like we're just getting started because, as Councilwoman Moreno can relate to, we've sort of paused a lot of things over the past 2 years. We were inaugurated January 8th, 2020. And, things quickly changed after that. So we're hoping that 2022 now, finally, after wishing the same thing for 2021, can bring us back to some semblance of normalcy and we can get back on track with a lot of the things that we plan to do. And besides that American Rescue Plan Act money, one of my initiatives and one of the important things to me is early childhood education. I know Councilwoman Moreno and I share that desire to make funding more readily available for the underprivileged in the parishes. In Jefferson Parish, there are 28,000 0 to 4-year-old students, and 21,000 of those come from underprivileged families. So the money that we've appropriated allows working families that are trying to make their lives better for themselves and their kids equal opportunities to have equal educational backgrounds, because your financial background should not impact your educational background. Everybody should be able to start on the same foot.
Let me ask both of you all this question. We'll start with you, Councilman Walker, and then have you answer this, Councilwoman Moreno. Does it go without saying for this region, and you all represent two of the biggest parishes, not just in this region, but in the state, is the biggest hurdle for you all getting through the pandemic this year and then moving forward?
I think it's a big challenge to be able to just say this is hopefully going to be behind us and we can move forward to a lot of the initiatives that we hope to address before this. I mean, it like I said, it almost feels like we're starting from scratch because so many things have been put on hold. But I'm optimistic, as is Councilwoman Moreno. We don't have as new of a council as she does. We haven't had any changes in the past 2 years. So everybody's anxious. Everybody wants to hit the ground running in 2022 and see what we can do. And let's get moving and really get some things done.
Yeah, I think most people want to put COVID in the rearview mirror. Can you talk about that, Councilwoman Moreno? Is that probably the biggest hurdle as we're moving into a new year, to put this in the rearview mirror and let's get things back to normal and get businesses, like Councilman Walker said, the economy and the business of government back to where it was?
Yeah, Travis, it's certainly been a challenge. It's continued to be a challenge, but I also feel like now we are learning to handle this challenge. And it may be something that we're just going to have to live with for quite some time. So how do we just move forward and still elevate the city despite this challenge? So that's one of the reasons why I actually decided to take over the Economic Development Committee for this next term, because what changes to our economy and what types of new job creation can come from what has occurred with COVID? Obviously we're all doing all these new virtual things now. What opportunities can we capture because of what we have dealt with COVID? So those are all the types of things we need to really be looking at and thinking about. But I do want to go back to one thing that Scott had just mentioned, and that was really on the early childhood education initiative that he talked about, because I think it's really important too, if we're going to make some really transformative changes to New Orleans and really to our region, we need to do these major front end investments to create safer communities, to create communities with more opportunities. And it's really investing in early childhood education that can lead to that. And that's why I'm going to make this plug right here, that here in New Orleans, we are moving forward with a ballot initiative, which is 5 mills, to add $20 million to early childhood education and care seats in the city of New Orleans. This would provide an additional 1,000 seats for low-income families to be able to receive this type of quality education and care for their children. And I'm telling you, like, this could be a real game changer for the city of New Orleans, because studies have shown that this type of investment at the end of the day leads to all the way down the road, leads to better outcomes, from high school graduation rates to health outcomes to safer communities. And so, I'm really hoping that on April 30th that the voters decide that this is a good thing and decide to move this forward.
Real quick, politicians typically don't like to look for a payoff that's a generation away. But if we don't start planning for the future of Jefferson and Orleans now, then we're never going to distance ourselves from our friends in Mississippi and Arkansas and Alabama. Nothing against them, but we're at the bottom of the rankings all the time, education-wise. And in Louisiana, we have a chance to make a difference. There's a state match fund that still needs to be funded that will match all of the local dollars for early childhood education. So we have a chance to make a real difference in Louisiana and do it for the people who are 0 to 4 now, and the people who are being born, and the ones who will be coming out of college in the 2042, in 20 years from now. What are we doing now to make it a better place for them years from now? That's what we need to focus on. And sometimes that's hard, and sometimes it's easy to lose sight of, but I really think we have a chance to do some great things.
And Travers, I'll say this: Scott and I come from two different parishes, two different political parties. But what we do agree on is that we can't continue to be reactive to the issues that plague our region, to the issues that plague Orleans or Jefferson. We have to make those long-term investments so that we start changing these systemic problems that have persisted. And once again, to the early childhood education and care initiatives that both parishes are committed to, and hopefully the state of Louisiana does meet the obligations of those matches, we can make some real difference in the region.
Look, this is good. Y'all are both eager. Hopefully a lot of this stuff can move from talk to actual reality. Before we go, Councilman Walker, just in a nutshell here, I know it's hard for all of us because we're all talkers. In about 20 seconds, number one thing moving forward, when you hit the council meeting this month, I know you've already had one, but when you hit the council meeting, number one thing that you want to get addressed sooner rather than later in about 20 seconds, and we'll do you next, Councilwoman Moreno.
In 20 seconds, come on, Travers, you got two TV people here.
I know it's tough. It's tough.
Well, I'm not going to go to the first meeting because that's Wednesday and there's nothing earth-shattering on that agenda. But Jefferson Parish is about to undergo a 20-year water and sewer replacement that has been kicked down the road for a long time, and our infrastructure is old. Pipes that are there have been there since the 50s and 60s. It costs, if you remember that West Napoleon geyser that we had for several weeks, it cost $1.5 million to fix that, because we had to fabricate a part away from Jefferson Parish. The repair should have cost $200,000. So that's where we are from an infrastructure standpoint in Jefferson Parish. And to make sure that we're in a good spot moving forward, we're going to start that replacement in the not too distant future.
All right. Councilwoman Moreno, you take the oath tomorrow for your second and final term as an at-large council person. Obviously, everybody knows 2 terms in New Orleans, 2 terms in Jefferson Parish. I don't want people to misconstrue that, but for your final term, in about 20 seconds, what is your number one goal? Really, moving forward this week, tomorrow's a meeting. So if you want to break some news, let us know what you're going to do first.
Well, I'll tell you this, the entire new council is committed to accountability around city operations. Lots of things are not working in the city of New Orleans, and I've got great partners now who are willing to push for that accountability. Number 2, as I mentioned earlier, the violent crime situation. What types of solutions? Can we provide funding for additional that will solely be focused on dealing with this violent crime situation? What additional incentives can we provide as a city, whether it's a housing incentive or whatever it could be, so that we can recruit more officers to come to the city of New Orleans? And then finally, as I mentioned before, infrastructure, resiliency, and climate, all key things I'm going to be focusing on during my next term.
All right. We appreciate the time that both of you all have given up to talk to all the viewers in Orleans and Jefferson Parish. How about this unique sign off with Scott Walker and Helena Moreno? I'm Travers Mackle for WDSU News. That's all the time that we have for the hot seat. You can see this entire segment starting tomorrow online and on all of our digital platforms.